hope that space and time clings here to toast of what was once a home, but what remains alive is the dark side of the road.
It's Sunday, September 28th, and you're tuned into the People's Patriot Project. We got your 6 at 6. Right now, you're listening to WP3 Radio, proudly produced in partnership with Reach Across America Radio. Together, we share a mission to remember the fallen, honor those who have served, and teach the future generations the value of freedom, a freedom secured by the brave men and women who wear our nation's uniform. Stay tuned for We Got Your 6 at 6. Currently playing on WP3 Radio, Kimberly Meyer, The Dark Side of the Road.
The dark side of the road I'm walking through. Dark side.
Left your left, left right, your left. You got it.
Trucker.
Talkers, roll out. You're watching or listening to We Got Your 6 at 6 Patriot Playtime. We the people, the People's Patriot Project.
To put your skill set, your thoughts, and ideas, or want to help continue the mission, you have come to the right place. We are the People's Patriot Project, and we are the shock and awe when it comes to meeting the needs of our veterans and first responders. We are dealing with a new enemy in today's world where the wounds are not always seen. We want you to be a part of this mission in saving lives and making a difference. Welcome to We Got Your 6 at 6 Patriot Playtime. Here's the WP3 team bringing you today's best heroes hits in the boots on the ground organizations that are saving lives. And as always, Patriot Pride.
Left your left, left right, your left. You got it.
Trucker.
Good evening, Andrea. Oh, there it goes again. Andrea Eichmann here with the People's Patriot Project. Mark, Frank, and I, we are here tonight to bring you our weekly show called We Got Your 6 at 6. Every week, we bring you a guest. Sometimes we bring you a new music guest. And then we talk about all the good things and sometimes not so good things that are happening in our world. This week, we've got guest Colonel Oakland McCulloch and music with Joshua Martin. It's going to be pretty exciting. I just want to mention a couple of our sponsors. To start out here, we have always got Catch 22 with Derek Iozio here for us. Derek's an awesome guy. We just call him the Godfather. He's part of our board, but he's also a great mentor and sponsor. We also have Operation Texas Strong. This is with the Kretzingers. Peggy and Bobby take in old RVs and turn them into homes for homeless veterans. My gosh, they're over 250. I mean, they're probably at 300. Amazing. They're down in Texas, but they have helped us around the country as well. So give them a shout out. Thank you, Operation Texas Strong. And then we've got the Boho Hobos Hideaway. This is down in Livingston, Texas. This is one of our sponsors and newsletter creators. If you are going to be in Texas, kind of northern, central-ish, westish, I don't know. It's a big place, folks. Give this a try. You can find it on Airbnb. I shared the link on our Facebook and Instagram and YouTube pages. I'm planning to check it out. The Boho Hobos Hideaway. Thank you to those sponsors of ours. Always supporting, always taking time to give us a shout out. We would like to welcome everybody and thank them for being here tonight, guests and audience, and Frank and Mark. It's going to be a great show. Thank you again for being here. Before we dive into this show, please, will you take a moment to join us for this amazing version of the Star Spangled Banner with Dave Bray, USA.
Ladies and gentlemen, please take the time to stand if you are capable of standing. Out of honor and respect, please remove your covers and prepare yourself how you need to show your greatest gratitude for the amazing freedoms and liberties we have achieved under one of the most powerful symbols in the world. Please cast your attention as we respect our old glory.
Can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fights, oh, the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming. And the rocket train, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, just that star-spangled banner, yeah, wave for the land under the free.
It's time for We Got Your 6 at 6.
Just got three things to say. God bless our troops. God bless America. And gentlemen,
It's not working like you think it's working, Peterson. So Peterson's got this stuff he likes to do, but then he has this microphone that doesn't like to do it for him.
Wah, wah. So does this work?
Yep. That one worked.
That one worked great. Yeah, that's awesome. That is awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, it don't matter. We're here. We're gonna come here every Sunday at 1800 Central Standard Time, and I think we need to review what is our mission. What are we doing? What are we getting done? What have we done for 272 Sundays in a row? And that's not an action. That number's off because we probably had about another dozen that we weren't smart enough to know that we needed to make sure they were in the things and all the other things.
Well, and they were on Fridays and not Sundays, and so there's a whole story. Yeah.
When I say we, I mean me, not very smart, because we didn't want to do a podcast. This isn't what we wanted to do, but we are, and we think it's important because every single day, all of us get to lay our big fat heads on the pillows of freedom without realizing, and the reality is many of us on this platform know how we got those freedoms, how we got those liberties, how we got those things, because everyone on this page, for the most part, and this is not an attack on Andrea, but have all served in the military or as a first responder. But Andrea's dad did, and Andrea's been an amazing part. She is the glue that holds the People's Patriot Project together, and we appreciate all the hard work she does. But we realized that there were a lot of positive stories, positive missions, positive things happening, and it's constantly getting overcast by nonsense. Stuff that, personally, there's a lot, but I don't think we need to talk about, to be honest with you. That's my truth. But so we don't talk about it. We don't talk about what we do is we come here and we share the amazing mission of men and women who put their boots on the ground, A, to continue the mission, or B, you know what? Not everyone got the chance to serve in the military by choice, not by choice, but they still wanted to do something. So they're out there serving now. And that's why we come here every weekend to share the mission of these men and women. And then the amazing musical talent of some of those men and women who went and served their country, went and served their community, and it wasn't their first priority to put music down. But now they're doing it, and they didn't have the leg up, man. Now we're going to get them out there, and we're going to let everyone hear them. And so we have the amazing Lieutenant Colonel retired Oak McCulloch, which dances in the world of leadership. He runs something called Leadership Legacy, and I've watched some of his there's some footage out there of him delivering messages, and it's like, this is a guy that I want to follow. And then we got Joshua Martin, deep from the deep grounds of the bayou right now, coming to us strong. I know he's been on the road, he's been doing stuff, and he still found a way to come to us this weekend. But we're going to, real quick, before we get to these guys, we're going to let Frank tell us what's in the news.
All right. Well, the first story that I had is about the individual who thought that it might be a good idea to be the second person to try to assassinate the president. Well, he was the first one that didn't do anything really. He laid outside of a fence at a golf course where he knew that the president played golf, and then when he saw these Secret Service guys coming, he decided it was time to go, and he left all of his stuff there. Well, they found him, of course, and put him in jail, and he was recently found guilty of all charges. Go figure. And it took the jury a total of 2 hours. I wonder if they took a coffee break in between. And then to make it even better, Mr. Ryan Routh decided that he didn't want to do the time. He did the crime, but he didn't want to do the time. So he picked up a pen and tried to stab himself in the neck. Well, this was one of those times when the pen was not mightier than the sword. And he failed miserably. So now he's back in jail, pending sentencing, and hopefully he'll be in there for a good long time. The next one was a video that I had seen, and it was of the United Nations talks last week, the emergency council meeting, the Security Council meeting. And the one I was intrigued with most of all was when the Polish representative called out Russia in no uncertain terms and noted that they had once again flown into NATO airspace. They loitered for 20 or 12 minutes inside of NATO airspace before departing. It was 3 fighter jets. And this was after they had the mistakenly fired or ran drones over Poland. So the Polish representative reminded Russia that this is the first time that they went into airspace of NATO and did not say they were sorry. It was just a mistake. And he said, well, all you had to do is say that. We've forgiven you time after time after time. And he ended saying that the next incursion of a Russian jet or drone over Poland would end in it being shot down. And he said, this is your warning. I thought that was pretty good. Being of Polish descent, it's kind of nice to see the land of my ancestors standing up and giving the royal salute to Russia. The last one I have is a little on the lighter side. Last week was the Fattest Bear Week. And if you've never heard of it before, join the crowd, because I'd never heard of it before either. Evidently, it's a social media sensation. And they have a national park and preserve up in Alaska. And they tag these bears and they have videos of them all, and they track them as they get ready to hibernate. And then people vote online and pick the fattest bear. And they actually have a bracket like March Madness where the bears go head to head, and then they move up till there's finally only 2 fattest bears left, and people pick one, and that's who wins. So I know what I'm doing when I finally decide I'm not going to write books anymore. I'm going to get a big grizzly bear costume, head up to Alaska, and sit in the river and eat 100 pounds of salmon. See what happens. And that's it for the news.
Thanks for sharing, Frank.
Always a pleasure. I got to get my news hat. It says press. Yeah.
Colonel Oakes, tell us who you are and what is your mission, brother?
Yeah, well, thanks, Mark. I grew up in Northern Illinois. I now live here in Daytona Beach, Florida. And I did 23 years in the Army, retired a lieutenant colonel. And then I wrote a book. And Now I'm out there on a speaking circuit, and really I'm talking about leadership and success. And I, just look around. We need some leadership out there in the world today. So my passion and my mission is to get out and help as many people as I can be a little bit better leader. And I look at it. I have 4 ways to get my message out. I've got my keynote talks. I've got my leadership development programs that I do. And then I've got my book. And then I've got my social media, which I'm on, and write articles and blogs and just make comments on other people's leadership stuff. And then I've got the podcast, and I just try to use all 4 as much as possible to get my message about servant leadership and how to be a good leader and take care of yourself while taking care of the people that you have the privilege to lead.
Outstanding. We're excited to hear more about that and what you got the clean cut, high and tight. It is. I used to fear men that had that haircut, brother, and
I've had this haircut almost all my life. And right after I retired, and I worked at the food bank for a couple of years. Right after I retired, for probably the first 3-4 months, I tried to grow it out, and I was like, no, that's not going to happen.
You couldn't do it. You had to keep it clean. Gosh. Well, you're looking good. Thank you for being here tonight. Joshua Martin.
How y'all doing tonight?
Who are you, brother, and what is your mission?
Well, I like to spread the music, the joy of music, honest to God. I've reached out to a lot of veterans about, when I meet them, about using your benefits, finding your happy place. Like, I love to hunt and fish, I love to play music. And the one thing about music is it brings everybody together. And I write true stories. One song I did not send you when I might play live is a song I wrote when I had the nerves and the jitters my first tour in Iraq. I did 2. That was 05 and 06, which is hard to believe. It's been 20 years almost for the first one, and 20 and 21. But now all I do is music. Behind me, there's a picture of David Allan Coe where I opened for him, and Chris Cagle where I opened up for him, and got my second record coming out, and receiving my CMA of Texas Award for Director's Choice of Independent Artist, and I made the Best of Texas Country Music this year. I retired May 18th of 2022 after 23 years as a senior chief in the Coast Guard, command senior chief. Was on loan to the Navy and Royal Commando at times in Iraq. Prior to that, I worked for a sheriff's department for 5 years and 2 city police departments for 3, and was K-9 and also worked with the SWAT team, which is kind of how I ended up getting voluntold for Iraq, which was rare for Coasties. And when I retired, I just decided that I was going to go on this music adventure and start writing and playing. And so in July, 2 months after retirement, I started a full-time band, started touring nationwide, and got my first record out about a year later, which, honest to God, didn't do that great because I was on a budget, didn't know what I was doing. And I tried to showcase that I was country, blues, southern rock, Americana. Like, I like it all. Problem is Spotify, iTunes, YouTube, Pandora, like, you got to kind of pick 2 genres. So the second record coming out, which has really got me some leeway here, is mostly Americana and outlaw country, and that's kind of where I'm cut from. I grew up on a farm in southern Indiana as an only child, and never afraid of work, and had an honest living. And we grew up, my parents and I, poor. And then everything I own, I've worked for. And my goal was to retire at 50 and be debt free, and I achieved that. Put my kids through college that wanted to go, and I have my little house here in Louisiana, and I got a little place in Texas, and my dad's place in Indiana. I kind of make full circles, but people often ask me if I was a trust fund baby or inherited. I laugh. I'm like, I work for everything I have, and so it's an honest living. But really, the best part is when I play music, and I really like to challenge people. Like, forget your politics. left, right, I'm center. I don't really care a whole lot about that. In the military, we weren't allowed to talk about it or politic anyways. And I guarded Democrats, Republicans, independents, did a lot of presidential and vice presidential security details, and I had a job to do, period. And I don't concern myself with that. But I will say I'm glad to see a lot more patriotism and flags flying and people being corrected for their evil doings, because that's, while I don't push the Bible hard, there's nothing wrong with the teachings in it. And just like, if you don't love this country, get out, because I served it and I'm proud of it. And that's what I'm doing right now, is just trying to be a positive influence on people. Like, it's too easy to get swayed.
I love it. I love every part of the message, brother. And yeah. You gonna lead us off with a song? You wanna go live?
There's a song I wrote that I did not send you on Spotify or iTunes. Okay. And it's called Fight This War. It hasn't been released yet. And it's for all the veterans out there, and for me, just not knowing what I was getting into. I was really upset about 9/11. So I volunteered to go to Iraq. I think if I'm going to play one live, that'd be probably the best one. It's my old Martin guitar here. Well, I'm waiting for the plane to take me away, so I can go into harm's way. I'm gonna take my place in this war. It repeats itself again, and we're killing some more. Well, everyone's fighting in the sand. I can't stand to lose any more of my friends. Well, I'm fighting this war for my country. Oh, if I die with my brothers, oh, it's okay, 'cause my company is good. Well, this song goes out to everybody that serves. Give a moment of silence for those who gave it all. Bravery and sacrifice go hand in hand. When you carry a gun in a foreign land. Well, I couldn't eat, I couldn't sleep. Don't you know my knees were weak? Well, I'm fighting this war for my country and home. If I die with my brothers, it's okay, 'cause my company is good. We don't let these colors, we don't let them run. I said, we don't let these colors, we don't let them run. I said, la 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 la, la 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 la. There you go, an impromptu of the song Fight This War I wrote in 2004 in my hotel room before I got on that Air Force plane.
Outstanding, brother. Outstanding.
No, that was awesome. Thank you for doing that live. That was cool.
Well, I just decided to. I had other plans, but plans change.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's okay. When you got the gift and the talent and the ability to do that, let her roll, let her buck, man.
I like the fact you said gift, because I'm self-taught. I can't read music. I can't play a lick. I don't know notes. I don't know anything. I just play by ear. My dad gave me a guitar when I was 9, and people say you're so talented. I said, no, I'm gifted. I don't know what I'm doing half the time. I just play what feels right. And I frustrate those professionals in studios when I go record because I don't know what I'm playing. And the song American Suicide, about the division of the country before the last election and people struggling, and us veterans as well, probably my best guitar work. And I couldn't tell the bass player and the keyboard player what the chords were because I'm finger picking and just what sounded good to me. I still this day couldn't tell you what those are, and you'll hear it when you play it. But I mean, it's got this kind of an eerie beginning. I go into finger picking. So when you hear that later on and you play it, I still can't tell you what those chords are.
That's perfect. And
Well,
so
Well, it's not
can't
perfect.
either.
It's not even perfection. It's called just to be in a. Oh well, you know, Jimi Hendrix used his thumbs, and other people like Jimmy Page played guitar low, and Waylon had his own sound, and that's the big thing to me, is just being authentic and being true to yourself. I'm not the best. I'm just gonna keep on doing what I'm doing.
I love it. We're going to hear more from Josh Martin here in a little bit. Colonel Oak, tell us, how do we get in contact with you, and what the big focus and vision of your mission is?
Yeah, so I've got a website, and on there it's got all my social media, so you can link with me on all my social media. Before I wrote my book, I wasn't on any social media, and my publisher, and I published the book in February 2021, and my publisher said, "So what social media are you on, Oak?" And I said, "None, and I don't want to be." He said, "I didn't ask that question." And so he got me on all the social media, and you can connect with me on any of that. Connect with me on my website. My website's got my cell phone number, email. Happy to connect with anybody that wants to connect with me. And really, I mean, I'm out there trying to speak as much as possible. I just had back-to-back conferences last week. I was in Columbus, Georgia, speaking at a conference, and then flew straight to Phoenix and was there for a couple of days. And next week I'll be in Austin, Texas, speaking. And I just started doing leadership development programs for companies. So I'm doing that. And I'm just now starting to dip my toe into coaching and mentoring CEOs and presidents of companies.
For those people that are going to search for Colonel Oak's page on, we've got it in the link, but this is going to get put to a podcast. So we got to go through the steps real quick at www.ltcokmcculloch.com.
Yep.
LTCOAKMCCULLOCH.com. And so that's one of the tough pieces when we're doing live podcasts and live streams. People don't always get access to the information, but again, Lieutenant Colonel Oak McCulloch.com is where you're going to find all of his materials. Is there a general theme that you just go through and say, boom, here we go, I'm dropping it on you, let's get it done?
Yeah, so I'm a huge believer in servant leadership. Some of the best leaders that I've ever worked for were servant leaders. In fact, it started in high school. My high school basketball coach, who I still stay in contact with, Coach Terry Nitzwicki, he was a servant leader, and he understood that it wasn't just about creating a good basketball team. he realized it was about creating good young men who were going to grow up to be good husbands and good fathers and good citizens. And you could walk into his office. I say his office, it was in the locker room, but he had a little office there in the locker room because he was not only the basketball coach, but he was the PE instructor for our high school. And our high school had 186 people in it. So the entire high school. So everybody knew everybody. But you could walk in anytime and just sit down and talk to him about a problem you had or an issue, and he would try to help you through it. And then my high school history teacher, who I stayed in contact with until he died about 18 months ago, and he was a Vietnam veteran. And before he died, he told me, he said, "Agent Orange, you finally got me." But he was another one that you could walk in anytime and just sit down and he helped you. So they kind of started me off on that route about servant leadership, and that it's not about you, and yet it's all about you. It's not about the title you get or the privileges you get, but it's about how you treat and empower the people that you have the privilege to lead. And it is a privilege to be the leader. And then I had some great servant leaders in the Army. I also had some horrible leaders in the Army, just like everybody else. Just like any profession, there's horrible people in every profession. But the best leaders I had in the Army were servant leaders, and they continued to be my mentor throughout my career, and that's the path I go down. So I talk about servant leadership, and then I don't talk about leadership theory. I don't even mention the word theory in my talk or in my book. I talk about everyday things that every leader can do to help improve their leadership skills and ability, and yet still take care of and empower the people they have the privilege to lead. Because I'm a firm believer that leadership is leadership. I don't care where you learned it. I don't care where you practiced it. If you understand that leadership is about people and trust, you can lead any organization. I don't care what it is. And I try to stay, I don't know anything about hospitals. I try to stay away from hospitals because there's mean people in there trying to do mean things to me. But if you put me in charge of a hospital tomorrow, I promise you I could run it, because I'll find the people I need to help me run it. And I kind of proved that when I took over the food bank. I mean, I was a combat arms officer for 23 years in the Army, retired, and I ran a food bank. You don't get any different than that. That's 180 degrees different. I didn't even know what a food bank was, except that it had food in it. But I understood that it was about people and trust, and I gained their trust, and I took care of them. And we had to pick up, like I was telling you before the show, we had to pick up a bunch of new people because of the BP oil spill, because the food bank I was running covered 52 counties across the Gulf Coast. And when I took over, we were handing out 1.2 million pounds of food a year. When I handed it off 2 years later, we were handing out 3.8 million pounds, double the size of the truck fleet, almost double the size of the staff. Because the other thing I talk about is solving problems. Leaders solve problems, and I saw a problem and I figured out how to solve it. But it's just everyday things that leaders have to do is what I talk about.
I don't want to step on your toes, Colonel. I think the one thing in this is just, as I'm listening to you talk, the one thing that exudes to me is action. You got to do something. And we run into people all the time. And as you were mentioning these people in your life that were servant leaders, everyone I guarantee you right now, people are popping that person in their life right now, because there are some people that just exude, and they don't get a thing out of it. And it's like, sometimes I feel sorry for them, owing the fact that they give. That's the servant side. And they're the happiest Joes on the face of the earth. But they live the simplest life, but they give everything. And they take themselves out of, what do I get out of this?
Yeah.
I've never seen a real leader do this.
This is what you get out of it as a servant leader. At least I do. It's that next generation of leaders and better people that you're helping to create. I had my hand in commissioning. I was lucky. I've had my hand in commissioning over 600 lieutenants, future leaders for the Army and for the nation. And what I got out of it was seeing them grow from when they came in as freshmen to when they graduated and got commissioned as a senior and their first duty station out there. And a lot of them still stay in contact with me, not every week or every month or maybe even every year, but when they got to get promoted or they get a new duty station or they have a question that they really want to bounce off somebody, that they'll get in contact with me. And that's what it's about. It's about that next generation of leaders, because that's your legacy, because people ask me all the time because obviously legacy means something to me. That's what I titled my book, Your Leadership Legacy, Becoming the Leader You Were Meant to Be. And so people ask me what I think legacy is. And I said, legacy has two parts. A very small part of your legacy is what you accomplish in your organization. That does matter, because in the real world, results do matter. In fantasy land, maybe it doesn't, where everybody's a winner and everybody gets a trophy. But in the real world, results matter. So a small part of that is your legacy. And the reason I say that's a small part is because you're going to leave that job someday. And when the next leader comes in and changes everything, then what's your legacy? So that's only a small part. The largest part is that next generation of leaders that you help create, who then help create the next generation of leaders and the next generation of leaders.
I love it. I love reading. Well, let me say this. I love buying leadership books, and then they sit here and they pile up and I get and I mean I do get in them, but I'm the guy that like underlines and highlights and throws a post-it note in it, and then I'm always referencing it. And the last one, and again, I don't want to attack or say, I got a leadership book recently that I'm just like, nope, I can't, nope, I don't. I get it. I understand what you're saying. I know where you want to go, but not an attack or anything, but I felt that it was more about their positions. It was a co-authored book. And I think they spent more time sharing about what like their operations were. And I'm like, I didn't need to, I wanted to learn how to be more of an effective leader. So folks, I have put up the link as well to Colonel Oak's book. I think this is the next one on my list to do and get into it. The action. That's what we talk about. I tell our board all the time, we are a board of action. There is an expectation of doing something. And when you come to the show, folks, we are expecting you to do something. I want you to grab your phones right now. And I want you to go to where you do your texting. And I want you to do just checking on you or just thinking about you. I want you to copy and paste that to 6 different conversations in your contact list and send that out. And it's weird because Colonel Oakes was just talking about this, how people in his life reach out. This is what we're doing, folks. This is how we lessen the number, whatever number you want to equate to, whether it's 22, 17, 75, 6,000 a year, it doesn't matter. This is how we are proactively going to reach out to our brothers and sisters and make sure they're okay. This is our check 6 section of our show. It's a call to action. The first thing you need to do is check yourself. You got to do a little head pat, take care of you, make sure we've all been out on the line. You're doing you. If you are not emotionally, mentally ready to be in that space, then make a change. Reach out to someone. If Oakes is in your network, reach out to him. If you're in our network, reach out to us. If you know someone that needs help and support and you don't think they're going to listen to you, get hold of us. We'll reach. If you put it on social media, we're going to come get you. That's our promise. That's what we've been doing. We'll do it. We're going to continue to do it, but make sure you check your 6. Thank you, Colonel. We're going to come back to you, Josh. How you doing, brother?
Well, I'm still here.
You are still here.
Creek don't rise.
We appreciate it. Is that the sunset going down in Louisiana that's giving you that beautiful pinkish glow?
Yeah, or it could be my heart still beating, but yeah, no, the sun's coming through the window, and I got my black lab and my 2 tortoiseshells laying at my feet. You can't see them. They want to know what's going on here, and we're relaxing. You know, last night I was playing in Baton Rouge and got in pretty late and been doing yard work all day. So some of this redness is actual tan from doing running chainsaws today and yard work.
Is that what you wear doing yard work?
I've showered twice today, my friend.
Fair enough.
And
You're looking kind of bougie, brother.
And it got cleaned up when I figured out this was going to be on a video podcast, not just on air interview. But I'm not afraid of work, that's for sure.
No.
How long? I'm asking a personal question. How far are you from Thibodaux?
I'm not sure. I mean, I'm about 45 minutes south of Lafayette. It takes me about an hour and 30 to get to Baton Rouge, about 2 hours to get to New Orleans, about 3.5 to Houston, 5 to Victoria, Texas. It just depends. About the same to Austin. When I go north, Memphis is about 6 hours. Nashville's similar. Up to Bloomington, Indiana, where I play at quite a bit too, about 12. All the way to New York, that's a 2-day trip, and then I've all the way to California and back. You know, it's usually about a 3-day run.
We have a chapter in Louisiana that we've had our Shock and Awe Fest down there in Thibodaux, and we brought in all the veteran and first responder musicians we could find in Louisiana. We didn't find you, brothers, but now we have.
I'm honestly not sure. It must not be real close, but you know, and I'm also involved with the Wounded War Heroes here in Louisiana. I just came back from a great fishing trip with those guys and a bunch of veterans from all over, and then also did the Oath Inc. out of Texas, out of Katy, Texas, and Houston, where we did couple different veteran hunts. And I try to stay involved, but honest to God, I work harder now in retirement than I've ever worked. I'm way too busy. And speaking of Lieutenant Colonel, my uncle George retired as a lieutenant colonel in the Army, started in Vietnam, and my uncle Wayne started in Vietnam in the Air Force as a door gunner, retired as a crew chief, working on stealth bombers in Desert Storm. Cousins, the Marine Corps in Desert Storm. I was Iraq 05 and 06, and the Coast Guard on loan to the DOD or Navy, whatever. And my grandfather was was a Navy tail gunner. In World War II, started in Pearl Harbor. And then my dad's father was a Army sniper. In World War I, my great-grandfather, my mom's side, was a Navy engineer. And then fourth great-grandfather was Paltide Blanchard of the Confederate Cavalry of North Carolina, where he lost his leg in Gettysburg, and then they made him a wooden leg, and he kept fighting. And his leg is still on display in the North Carolina War Museum. So that's kind of what I'm cut from.
Yeah.
But I'm the only coastie ever. But I try to stay involved with a lot of veteran organizations, and I like to call the strays. I meet somebody, and I'm asking them, are you using your benefits? Have you applied? Have you got your DC-14? Is the VA taking care of you? I ask these questions because I was a command E8 when I retired. The Coast Guard's a little different than the branches. We're so small, 39,000 at the time when I retired. I had 5 commands as an E7 and E8, multiple XO tours and multiple CO tours as a non-commissioned officer, basically, which is very unique. You know, you don't see that in the Navy and the Army and the Marine Corps and Air Force. So, you know, I commanded the ship Pelican cutter for the Coast Guard, skipjack, station Sackett's Harbor, New York, station Port O'Connor, Texas, XO of the Ahi in Hawaii, XO of Lake Tahoe, believe it or not, between Nevada and California. And it's just a real talk about leadership, Colonel. You know, it's you either have it or you don't. But if you're only as good as the people underneath of you. So, I mean, we all know that you got to take care of your people, and that's, are they fed? You know, are they being paid? Are they getting rest? And do they respect you? Because if they don't respect you, they're not going to listen to you. And, all my years, my 23 years in the Coast Guard and 8 years in the police departments, that's the one thing I learned is that people will follow you if they respect you. And it's kind of the same in the music business, my bands. Like I have very successful musicians with me and people are always complaining about it. And I'm like, well, I make sure my guys are paid the best. Matter of fact, I don't need the money. I'm good. My stuff's paid for. I got a retirement on the check for the month club. Sometimes I'll pay the band and not myself to show them that I'm in it for the love of music, and I want to make sure that the ones that aren't retired with a pension or a disability, they're getting paid. So it goes back to that leadership, Colonel. You know what I mean? And that's and just being there for people. I'm very outgoing, and I talk a lot, kind of ODAC. Oh God, I'm OCD, ADHD with ACDC sprinkled on top. But I've learned to listen to whether it's my band members or my crew and see what they need, and then I quietly take care of it. And that's, I think, what's making me successful in this journey right now.
Yeah, well, you hit it right on the head. Part of being a leader is you got to listen to your people. I always tell the story. My very first platoon sergeant, some of the best leaders in the military are NCOs. Let's not kid ourselves. And my very first platoon that I was a platoon leader for, I was a 23-year-old lieutenant, right out of all the training that they gave me at Fort Benning, and I show up at Fort Stewart, Georgia, and my platoon was already out in the field, and so my company commander drives me out there, drops me off, and introduces me to my platoon sergeant. I can see him like standing in front of me like it was yesterday. Sergeant First Class Pinson, 6'5", 220-pound country boy from Mississippi, and he grabs me by the shoulder. And he'd been running that platoon for 6 months as the platoon leader. There wasn't a platoon leader, so he was running it. He grabs me by the shoulder and says, "Sir, pick up an MRE. Let's go have lunch." And we went underneath a tree and we're sitting there eating lunch. And he said, "Look, sir, this is very simple. You're the platoon leader. We'll do things however you want to do them." He said, "However, I've been in the Army for 23 years. He'd been in the Army as long as I'd been alive. Why would you not listen to somebody like that?" And the reason is because ego, and good leaders know when to put their ego aside and listen to those kinds of people. And I give Sergeant First Class Pinson a lot of credit for helping develop me into the leader that I became.
Well, and the good officers, they know their foundation, their NCOs, and almost all of my 06s and 05s and 04s and 03s, I would tell them, especially as a chief and a senior chief, E7 and E8, I'm going to tell you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear.
Exactly.
And then you make the decision, sir. And I will carry it out. And I did. And that worked with everyone but one.
There's always that one.
That guy didn't make Admiral, but and I didn't make E9, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I am too. I had the same thing, Josh. I had one that just wouldn't listen, wouldn't do the right thing, and didn't want me to do the right thing, even though it was the right thing to do. And I did it anyway, and it reflected, and that's why I retired a lieutenant colonel, no doubt about it. And that's okay.
And you know what? And it's a good feeling to retire on your terms. They offered me 2 more years, which would have put me at 25, and I said, no, I'll do 1 more year. And they said 2 or nothing. Then I said, well, then nothing. Here's my letter. And as unfortunately, the big machine, kind of like DC in politics, what they lost was 23 years of experience, including combat service in 2 tours and South America and anti-drug running, people smuggling, whaling. Anti-whaling. I served Hawaii, Alaska, Persian Gulf, South America, South Africa, Horn of Africa. I was in California to Texas to Louisiana to Maryland to East Coast, West Coast. And it's a shame that sometimes they're blind, like you said, by egos. Yeah. But I don't want to get too far off on this topic because, I really think that the main message here is bringing people together and putting it out there that there's guys and women like us, that in Andrea and Mark, thanks for reaching out to me. I'm kind of a unique bird, but the most important thing is that we help each other. And later on, when you get to the song, If I Fall, I'm not afraid to talk about my flaws. I came back from Iraq in 6 and my marriage was a mess. My kids were a mess. And I was drinking a bottle of Maker's Mark a day, driving my Harley like an idiot, driving my Mustang like a complete moron. And no one would tap me on the shoulder and say, "Are you okay?" or "What are you doing?" And, you know, the song, "If I Fall, Will You Pick Me Up?" You know, "Will you let me drown?" or whatever. You'll hear the lyrics. You know, my marriage eventually ended in divorce. And I still was able to put my kids through college that wanted to go and take care of them and take care of my grandchildren. Even my ex-wife, I still make sure she's okay. But everybody just kept saying, "Oh, he just came back from Iraq from the second tour. He's just blowing off steam. Oh, he's kind of wild. He's crazy." I was not okay. And nobody would help me. I literally had to pick myself up and look in the mirror one day and go, "Do you want to live or are you going to kill yourself?"
It really is about community. And I talk about that a lot, you know, and you know, I tell leaders, you know, you've got to get out of your office and walk around and get to know the people that you have the privilege to lead. Because unless you know the people, you won't know when they're having problems. If you get to know people, then you'll figure out when they're having problems.
My CO didn't know I had a drinking problem. They didn't know I was going through divorce.
Yeah.
They didn't, I mean.
Because they sat behind their desk.
I mean, and again, you know, especially at the time I was an E6 making E7, like I was going to go to my CO or XO and say, "Hey, I've got a problem," because I was afraid it would mess up my career.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Also, something needs to be fixed in the military.
Yeah.
Coming for help should not mess up your career.
It should not. But, you know, my wife really taught me a lot about the community piece. You know, my wife was an Army nurse. So we for 8 years. And so we're never late for anything. If anything, we're that couple that shows up 15 minutes too early. And so one day we were getting ready to go somewhere, and I know how long it was going to take to get there. And I could tell we were leaving like even 5 minutes earlier than we normally do. And I said, "Well, what? Why are we leaving?" And she said, "You know, we might just run into somebody in the elevator or in the lobby or in the garage that just needs to talk to us today." And it's happened. And, you know, just to be able to stop and give them 5 minutes of your attention, just listen to them if that's what it takes, or give them some advice if that's what it takes. But we got to get back to building communities. You know, I see that as a huge problem in this country. You know, even in the military, it got to the point where people would they'd get up, go to work, they'd come back from work, they'd drive into the garage door would go down, and they wouldn't come out. And they didn't know their neighbors. You know, when I first came in as a lieutenant, we used to have parties out in the front yard, you know, and we got to know each other.
Well, I mean, and we come from a different generation where we would pitch horseshoes and play cornhole or throw darts.
Exactly.
You know, and have a bonfire, and we'd settle things with our fist if we had to, even though, you know, me being highly trained from police departments to the military and everything else in a long time, you know, hunting and fisherman and outdoorsman where I'm handy with about everything. I honestly believe, as much as I hate censorship, violent video games and violent Hollywood and the politics have destroyed this country, and our youth are desensitized, and you wonder why they're shooting up schools and malls.
Yeah.
Because like, I wouldn't let my son play Grand Theft Auto. I wouldn't even let him have what do they call those PlayStations and other Xboxes and stuff. And as soon as he graduated high school and moved out, I mean, him and his friends got one, and, you know, and that's his own business at that point. I wouldn't let my kids have it. And you get people like, I don't talk too much about Hollywood, but like, I think his name is Liam Nielsen or whatever his name is, that one actor, one of the biggest anti-gun guys ever. Well, I spent a lot of time in the NRA as a firearms instructor, teaching kids the right way and the safety rules, 25 years. And here's a guy that spends 2 hours trying to kill as many people on the big screen as possible, then talks about anti-gun and gun violence. Well, that guy can kiss my ass. Yeah. He's part of the problem.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Well, hey, you kind of dropped a hint. We'll call it a hint, an Easter egg. We'll say an Easter egg. You were kind of leading us into If I Fall. You got any more to say about that?
Well, I mean, I told you the history. I mean, I'm not ashamed at this point. I had a problem, and the biggest problem was that no one else would recognize it and help me out of it. Thank God I helped myself out of it, you know. And like you'll hear the actual version, and there's an amazing singer that really puts some soul into it, but it's kind of somber. You know, I was going through divorce, and kids are having a hard time, but so yeah, I wrote that song when I got back from Iraq and kind of got myself together. You know, it was also a way of communicating to my wife at the time. You know, I'm in this misery, I'm in this place of sin, and just play it and you'll hear the words. But it was probably one of my most heartfelt songs of I was struggling.
This
And,
is
people
Joshua
out there,
Martin.
you're not alone.
This is Joshua Martin, If I Fall.
If I fall back down again, don't you know I never win? Well, I'm in this place of sin. I keep coming back for more and then. Please don't settle this old score. I can't take too much more. If I fall back down again, would you pick me up and be my friend? If I fall back down again, would you pick me up and be my friend? Oh yeah. Oh, won't you help me out? Living in this personal hell, it ain't easy when you fail. Yet you say I'm a total disgrace. In this misery I still miss your face. If I fall back down again, would you pick me up and be my friend? If I fall back down again, would you pick me up and be my friend? Oh yeah.
That is Joshua Martin. If I Fall.
Got some friends here now.
You do?
I've got baby Foxy here. Just joined me and Storm, my service dog here. They're she's pat him in the face, but he's very tolerant. Thank you for playing that. It's a very personal song, and again, that first record really didn't do much, but it was all my heart and soul. I wrote every song. That lead guitar solo was also me. I didn't start singing until I was 34. Before I went to Iraq, I played lead guitar my whole life and didn't know I could sing, and still don't think I'm the best singer. I just do what the best I can, really.
When I hear people say, and I mean, I love your testimony and I love your comments and stuff, but then you hear, I don't know if I sing very good. There are people out there like Joe Cocker. That guy did not sing very well either, for the record. But historically, in the world of our pop culture, was an amazing musician and got his stuff done, man. I think it's the messaging. I think it's the delivery. I think it's the connection. And I don't care who you are. I think if you put the right stuff out there, I think we've had several people comment. We got Ernest.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, thank you very much. And again, the new record is way better produced. I had a little more money, and of course you learn. The second record, I went in with a plan. The first record, I was blind. And we've only released 2 songs off the new one, and they've both done well for me. And again, it's a blessing. And the fact that they're all true stories. It wasn't until just last month I wrote my first fictional song, which I'm not even sure I'm going to release it. I was just trying my hand at just writing a kind of a hypothetical situation. But every song on my debut record, self-titled Joshua Martin, and my new record, Second Chances, are all true stories. So if I see you doing something or I'm involved in something, you might get written about it. Boy, Foxy's she's a ball of energy. Meet Foxy, everybody. Cuteness moment. Little rescue I got this week. My last cat repairs cost me about $600. Time you spay, neuter, chip, shots. I'm like, wow, Doc, I'm so glad I saved this little sucker.
So people commenting on Joshua's music, yay. We got we'll put his links up to his Spotify. You can also, a lot of people don't know this, and I don't know why we don't know this. We've been doing it for a minute. Joshua was also, we got 4 of his songs. Won't have his first song tonight until he sends me that, if he will, if he can, or how he can, all the above. But we've already got his music up on WP3 Radio. WP3 Radio only plays veterans and first responders across our country, and they are amazing folks. Josh is sitting here saying he didn't know he could sing. Yes, he can. Yes, he can sing. He's got a great message. He's got stuff that I want to hear, and you're going to hear it on WP3 Radio. So get a chance. You can let that thing play all day long, and this is my promise to you. All day long, you're going to hear the men and women who have boots on the ground serving their country and community playing their music. And that's a win for me personally. That's what I'm going to be doing. So WP3 Radio. No one does it like we do. Boom. Hello.
Anything done. I'm under attack here.
Terry Daniels, we are going to get to another one of his songs here in the next segment. And so thanks for being here, brother.
Peterson?
Yep.
I just have a quick sponsor interruption.
Please do. Thank you.
Yes, you're absolutely right. We've got to just mention Brian Kenzer. He's usually here with us. It's been a little while. This guy is a ship captain, first responder, owns his own business, so he's sometimes kind of busy. But he can talk to you about his smart living business. See how he tied that into sailing, smooth sailing into a healthier you. It's like shopping online. It's an online store. You can get everything from personal items, cleaning items. That's okay. I just caught you, Joshua. You can do that.
Yeah, we caught him.
Peterson with the click. Anyway, just go online. You can talk to him. Also, they're all made in America products, which weird. I'm seeing more and more of this, and I think it's kind of cool. Also, we have got Joe Meisch out there, and Joe Meisch is the temple massager, a veteran business as well. And he shared out his temple massager, which is to relieve stress and tension and help you sleep and all of that good stuff. He's got all the science behind it. It's a simple little tool. Put those little nodes on your temples. You massage. You can massage deeper and farther, the ears, behind the ears. It's a great little tool, you guys. And if you put code WEP3 in the special order code, there we go. It saves 20%. Thanks, Peterson. I don't know what I was trying to say there, but 20% off, which is quite a deal. It's an amazing tool. So check that out. Thank you.
Thank you. Colonel Oakes, what is the next big step in your mission? Where are you going next?
Yeah, well, I want to talk just a second. Josh, you can sing, but I think it's the passion. That's what they see in when you sing. You can tell that's your passion, and I get told that when I give my leadership talks that they can just tell the passion in it, and I think that's that being authentic and having that passion draws people to you, and so. Good job. I mean, I love that song. That was great.
I'd like to say you can't fake passion or talent.
but yeah. So you asked me where I'm going to next. I've got a few speaking engagements already booked for next year. I've still got a couple this year. I've got the one in Austin next week, and then got working on a couple of leadership development programs for companies out there. I'll be in London, England, and I'll be in Green Bay, Wisconsin in February, which I'm looking forward to speaking, but I'm not looking forward to being in Green Bay, Wisconsin in February. There's a reason I live in Florida. I don't want to live through that anymore because I grew up in Northern Illinois, so I know what that cold is. And then April, I'll be in London, England, talking. And then in July, I'll be in Manhattan, Kansas. So, and I'm working on my second book. So the other keynote talk that I give on occasion is on success. And I'm working on my second book. And like you said, Josh, I learned a lot from my first one. So this one should be a little bit better and advertised a little bit better. So maybe it'll do better than the first one. But yeah, so I'm just trying to get my message out there as much as possible, and any way that I can do it, because this really is my passion. I mean, I want to help people be better leaders and better people, because I think that's part of being a leader as well, is helping your people be better people. I'm passionate about that as well. That I try to help people be the best version of themselves, however I can do that.
You speak a lot of words that we throw out there, Colonel. I'm just letting you know. Every week we talk about the version of us tomorrow should be better than the version of us today.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's your goal. That should be your goal. And I tell people that you have to add. I go figure. I've been associated with the Army for 40 years. I'm a routine guy. Everything I do in routines, and I believe in routines inside of routines. So you do the same way every day in the same place, and then it becomes a habit. You don't even have to think about it. And, I started and end my day the same way every single day, no matter where I am in the world. I listen to the daily mass. I listen to a couple of chapters of the Bible. I do my daily prayers. I've started my day off right. I don't have a whole lot to say what goes on after that, but at least I started it off right. And then I end my day the same way.
You. And maybe you're like me, maybe you're not. But when I get up in the morning, the first thing I do is make my bed and then go brush my teeth.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Just curious if you're cut from the same cloth, because there's people out there, and there's somebody.
I make my bed in the hotel room, Josh.
People, there was somebody that wrote about it. It's a simple routine and discipline of start off by making your bed and having that mission accomplished. It might be simple, it might be minor,
but it starts you off on the right road. But
you have started off by completing something and doing it with pride.
Yep.
Just curious, because no offense. I mean, if I had my wife still, she used to make the bed, and sometimes soldiers and sailors will let that happen. But I'm on my own, and every day I get up and make my bed.
Yeah, like I said, I make it in a hotel room. If I'm in a hotel room, I make my bed as soon as I get out.
It's always better to leave it.
And then I end my day the exact same way every single day. I read something. I don't care if it's an article, a newsletter, a blog, a little bit of a book, whatever. I read something, and it's a wide variety. Sometimes it's leadership, sometimes it's politics, sometimes it's religion, but I read something. I write in my journal. I've kept a journal for 52 years. And then this is what's important to me. And I think we as people don't do a good job of it, is I reflect. I do a daily reflection every day. What was I supposed to do today? What did I do? And how can I get better at it tomorrow? That's how we get better every single day.
I make a list, Colonel, and honest to God, call me silly, but I will fold my towels. I'm doing laundry and take pride in boy, I folded those towels. They look good. It's some crazy little things, but just like you said, I have to write it down. I write down what I accomplished today and what I'm gonna do tomorrow. And just like this morning, I was going to dig out the bonfire pit and I was going to trim the limbs around my carport before this podcast, and mission accomplished. And then I got in the shower and got a clean shirt. Yes, sir. And even deodorant, Mark, in case you're wondering. But I mean, it is these little things that really just, I think, complete us, that as a human being, you have to set your goals no matter how small, whether it's the next single or record, or I'm going to get this yard work done today, and by God, I'm going to be clean when I'm done, and those towels are going to be folded crisp.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And I tell people all the time, successful people set goals, but here's the difference. Dreams are great, but dreams don't get you anywhere. Usually it's the goals that get you there, the long-term goals and the intermediate goals. And for something to be a goal, you have to do three things. You have to write it down, because now it's real. I can see it. There's something that I'm going to work toward. You got to commit to it, which means you say, I'm going to do this. And then you come up with the intermediate goals to get you there. And then within the first 24 hours, you need to do something. Goes back to Mark, do something that starts you down that road to accomplishing that goal. If you do that, I promise you, it will change your life.
I love every part of this conversation. It reminded me of a song Cody Johnson does that says it's basically, till you can't. Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of people that miss opportunities because they weren't on time. And I get stuff happens, but you miss opportunities if you're not prepared. You miss opportunities if you don't take that step. You miss opportunities if you don't set a goal. I mean, literally, right. If you're not coming from the world of education, data drives everything. I didn't understand that going into education, and I didn't understand people would spend an astronomical amount of time poring over data. It makes sense now, but you have to create that data for yourself. Check the box.
Here's the problem, Mark, is that there are some opportunities that are only going to come along once in your life. And if you aren't prepared to take it, somebody else is, I promise you.
Absolutely.
And that's part of that commitment of setting your goal, is that you figure out what gates you have to go through to get to where you want to be. What training do I need? What certificates do I need? What positions of leadership or management or whatever it is that you do, that you got to do, and you got to keep hitting those gates. And as you hit those gates, now you're prepared for whatever opportunity comes available.
Yes. So we do run into this quite often, helping veterans and first responders, because all of a sudden someone is behind months and months and months and months on their mortgage or their rent. And I'm like, we can super help you in month 1, some 2, maybe 3. It's really hard to get you help when you're in month 6. So what have you been doing? What boxes have you been checking? It's tough. Some of the conversations are tough, and it doesn't stop or delineate from the fact that they need help and support, but handing them necessarily the check, they need a pathway. Right. And that's what leadership is. Yeah. You need to lead your space before you can lead other people's space.
Well, it starts at home. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, and you're going right back to one of my favorite sayings is, you give a man a fish, you'll feed him one, for a day. You teach him to fish, you'll feed him for life. Yeah. But, when you said, data drives, I think heart will drive you farther. People that survived against all odds. And I've been, lately I've been just really diving into history of the Old West, and not just the Wild West of the cowboys and the Rangers and the outlaws, but also the Indians, and some of the amazing, incredible things they overcame. Some of them 120 days or 90-mile or 120-mile walks and no weapons or, food or whatever. It was heart. They had a will to live and a will to survive. And so, God, and I've been up, I've been down. I grew up poor. I became successful. I was knocked down, got back up again, and crawled my way out. But I mean, I want to say that if you got the heart, you will go places. Yeah. You will make it.
Even the people that settled the West, the frontiermen, not the lawmen or the outlaws, but just the everyday family that traveled the Oregon Trail and ended up in Wyoming or Montana and had to survive through that first winter. I mean, if they didn't have heart, they didn't make it.
That's my point.
Yeah.
That was a different kind of folk back then too. I mean, that was walking into something blind.
So 99% of people in today's society, I don't think would survive.
I would agree with you.
Yeah,
I agree.
But I will.
And I would.
But one of the things, like Josh was saying, he writes it down, makes a check. Every night before I go to bed, I take out a 3x5 card and say, okay, here's my priorities for tomorrow. And I've done that for years and years and years. And that sits on my desk. So when I walk in here first thing in the morning, I don't have to sit down and think, okay, what am I going to do today? It's already written out for me.
And Colonel, we'll forget sometimes. Honest to God, we're so busy. I mean, a cat can jump in my lap, or a grandkid could call me, or a family friend or emergency, or just a surprise call, or I think it's just part of being organized. Like, it's not against you to have a list or a flashcard or a notebook, or a reminder on your smartphone, which those things are kind of the devil too. Like, they're always listening, because by God, if you mention a laundry detergent, you're going to see it 100 times the next day.
Yep. Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, organization is key. I very few people have I ever met that I consider to be successful who weren't organized. And, just the little things like you were saying, take pride in folding your clothes. However, growing up, my father had this thing called the 75% rule. And he said to me, son, if you can't do something better than 75% of the people doing it, you need to do one of two things. Figure out how to get better at it, or go find something else to do, because obviously it doesn't matter to you. And he instilled that winning attitude in me, that you should want to be the best at whatever you do. I don't care what it is. I don't care if somebody tells you to go sweep the floor, be the best floor sweeper there is in that around.
Well, that's Coach 101. I mean, you got your E2 out of boot camp.
Yeah.
And you walk in the room as an NCO or as an officer, and you say, good job, seaman, or so-and-so, or airman, or whoever. And even right then and there, you're going to see a smile. They're going to take some pride in the fact that they did a good job and you noticed. Now, that's the thing, too, is noticing. I want to tell you one more thing. When I first became a chief in the U.S. Coast Guard, we had to go through initiation, which was pretty much hazing. And I think it was an awesome thing. It's too bad they took it away because being initiated, you earned it. And then the Navy tradition as well. But the one thing they always told us was always do the right thing when no one's looking as a chief, as an E7, as an NCO. And then I was an E8 as a command senior chief. And when I retired, I thought about it. I said, you know what? That's wrong. Why not do the right thing when everybody's looking and let them know about it? Don't be in silence in the shadows doing the right thing, because it's actually contagious when people see it. So like their creed, always do the right thing when no one's looking. As a chief, always do the right thing when no one's looking. Well, sure you should. But why not let them see it? And that's where I think the Coast Guard really was wrong. And also in Navy chiefs were a secret society, bullshit. Do it when everybody's looking.
Yeah.
Same with officers.
I take it one step further, Josh. I say you as a leader, and I think as a person, but certainly as a leader, you need to do the right thing because it's the right thing to do, even when it's not in your best interest.
Oh,
and there's times that we've had to make
that's
those
why
decisions.
I'm not a master chief.
Yeah, exactly. That's same with me. That's why I retired a lieutenant colonel. But you know, you're absolutely right. You know, my philosophy was all because everybody makes mistakes. There's no perfect people in this world. You know, I keep trying to convince my wife I am. She's not buying it. You would think after 38 years I could convince her, but no. But my philosophy was always this. You know, I don't care if you made a mistake. Come tell me. Don't try to hide it or sweep it under the rug. Say, hey, sir, I messed up and this is how we're going to fix it. And I'd say, let's go fix it. And that was always my philosophy when I messed up. I went up to my boss in front of my people. If we accomplished what we were supposed to, I said, hey, sir, look what my team did. And Joe, John, and Jane did a great job. If we didn't do
respect, sir, and as you know, as having commands in the Coast Guard is when I did discipline people, and years later, they reached out to me on Facebook or Instagram or email and said, you know, I'm sorry I was a mess up. Sorry you had to kick me out, or sorry to take me to captain's mast, or, you know, or court martial or whatever it was. And I'm like, well, it was my job. And unfortunately, you weren't meeting the standards and you left me a resort. And it was never fun, but what really blew my mind, especially in the music world, is, and I won't mention names, but, you know, I had somebody that I had to really lay into heavily and ended their career. And now they're doing well in the music world. And we've actually got to share the stage together and play and talk. Right. And there's been some others out there where, you know, again, where I was in command and I had to take care of business for the better of the organization, the U.S. Coast Guard. And then again, same thing, the CO that felt the need to burn me for the first time in 20 years. Again, they're left with that decision. They got to live with it. And me, I mean, retirement as an E89 is not that much different. I sleep just fine at night. But
I always tell people,
hold people accountable. And
absolutely. And I always tell people the test I use is I got to like the person I see in the mirror every morning when I'm shaving.
But when you hold somebody accountable and they come back around and they really hold themselves accountable, and apology is not necessary, but they still do it anyways. And I tell them, you know, hey, it's Josh now. And it's no longer first name senior, last name chief, or in your, you know, instance, colonel. But it's an interesting place that we've had that honor of commanding people or working with people or being followers and leaders. And just circling back to this whole People's Patriot Project, I'm very glad to be part of it, because what we're doing is we're sharing our experiences, and people that maybe weren't leaders, that are followers or not sure where to go, that this is definitely a good outlet. And anytime I can get involved in one of these, I think it's a great thing. And, you know, Colonel, just listening to you talk, I mean, you're somebody I could serve with, and we technically are right now. We're serving our country and our patriots, you know, and Andrea and Frank and Mark, you know, what you guys are all doing, guys and girls. This is it really is an amazing thing. And there's a lot of these I turn down. I don't have time for it, and I need to make sure they're legit. But to your points earlier, if we can help one person or 10 or 100 or 1,000, then we've done something. And I do it through music. You're doing it through podcasts. You're doing it through talks, and I just the education part and the reach, the outreach, that there shouldn't be people homeless on the streets that are veterans. There shouldn't be 6-month waits to VA. I can tell you my VA experience was not good. And the hoops I jumped through, what they didn't realize is I'm persistent and I don't quit. And it took me a while to get all my stuff done. I got a visitor again. Unfortunately, a lot of the younger ranking men and women, they give up and they don't get their benefits. And I think the government almost counts on a big percentage will never use their benefits.
Yeah.
And every time I run across somebody, I'm like, why? Get that check, get those medications, get that benefits. Then there's one more darker side I do want to comment on. I've been doing some fishing and hunting trips, people, and I've seen too many veterans that are just prescribed a whole bunch of narcotics. When I've asked a guy, if they had any ibuprofen or Tylenol with them because I had a headache or whatever, my back was hurting, and they got hydros or oxys, or they got a whole pocket full of this and that. And lately I've seen a lot of it, and it just makes me question, like, are they handing it out like candy or what?
Yep.
And they're getting addicted to it, and they look horrible. They're not acting right, and then they're drinking on top. And I enjoy a cold beer. I don't drink whiskey like I used to, and I'm usually a 2 or 3 beer guy, and that's it. And if I'm on my Harley, it's 2 wheels, 2 drinks. I mean, I've got rules now to myself because I'm disciplined, but there are people that aren't. And I just lately, I went on some great trips, and I saw some veterans where I said no thanks, and I'm like, and just some simple questions like, are those regular, or what you got going on with you, and like, is that through the VA and this and that, but I had another boat captain with me that was also asking me, had any ibuprofen, and the guy's like, I got oxys and I got hydros, and a whole backpack full of them. And I think that's a bigger problem that we're not talking about.
Yeah, I agree with you.
A lot of veterans are medicated. They're just handed out these poisonous pills, and it's not good.
Well, it goes back to the healthcare system in this country that, it isn't designed to cure people, to make them better. It's designed to keep them on the.
Big pharma not looking for cures; they're looking for customers.
Absolutely, and I think that's part of the problem. Yeah, I agree with you, Josh.
That is a whole gigantic rabbit hole and you're not wrong, Joshua. You're not wrong.
I just saw it the last 2 weekends, and it upset me.
We could do a whole show just on
right
that.
now. We can talk about anything. I should be shamelessly, promoting myself and music and web pages and links, but I think we're being real here, which is what people want to hear.
Absolutely. This is what we get excited about, is the real conversations and people putting their heart into their show and into their thought and into their lives. And my head just goes spinning into where can we plug into the next resource? Where can we make the mission bigger, better, badder, and go and slam dunk? It's not hard. There should be no veterans that are homeless. That's an easy fix. That is such an easy fix. When I say this only because there's documented homelessness and there's non-documented homelessness, but in the veteran world, and there's more than just homeless veterans, but this is our mission. This is what we do. There's less than 100,000 homeless vets across our country. That's an easy fix. That is easy. There is no one that should be worried about where their next meal is coming from. Anywhere. I don't care veteran or not veteran. That's another easy fix. But we have to have the bold people step forward, be the leaders, and direct it in the right path. I mean, you guys probably don't get to hear the news for the lovely state I live in, and the amount of corruption and lost dollars over the COVID funding for kids in schools and stuff like that.
Oh God.
I'm like, in the hundreds of millions of dollars, who's being held accountable for that? That is ridiculous.
Well, you know, Mark, my exit meeting and my retirement as a Command E8, and with the CO, a full E6 or 06, excuse me, which also was, you know, sent off to the Admiral. I said that, you know, luckily I've done a lot of my own research and working on my own VA stuff and all my exit stuff and transition and what I plan to do. And I've made good investments on property and real estate and whatnot. But it was really shameful that your exit from the military, whether you're an E4 or an E9 or E8 or an 06 or 05, they don't really give you a lot of help on what you really need to do or where you're going or how to get there and all the hoops and red tape. And I told him my biggest gripe was that the exit, you're pretty much on your own. And then, you know, you don't realize it's actually against the law for these people to take money to help you get better VA benefits and, you know, and get your disabilities and whatnot. Congress appoints money to these VA social workers to do it for you, and people don't realize it. And they're paying people $200,000, $300,000, $500,000 to make sure they get this and that. It's illegal. And it's really just a shame. But again, there's no guidance in all the manuals and all the training and everything we do for us 20 plus year guys. When your time is up and you're down to 90 days, they kind of just put you on your own at the desk. They take away all your privileges, all your clearances, and they slowly put you to pasture. And there's not really anybody there as a transition specialist other than doing your Diddy move or your PCS move, which is really a joke. And that's what I told the captain. How far it went, who knows? But, you know, my heart goes out to people that aren't as smart as I am, that were going to make damn sure that I got all my benefits and was going to mess with the VA. You know, and it took me a solid year to get my first check from the VA. And it took me 2 years to get what I felt like I deserved from them in back pay. And I did it all on my own and with the help of the actual VA social worker, which Congress pays them to do that job. So if you're paying somebody else, you know, the tax dollars are going towards people that are actually paid to do that by law.
See, Joshua, that's what makes me mad, because I retired from the Pentagon. And when I retired, I made an appointment with someone from the VA who came over and sat with me at the clinic at the Pentagon, went through my file page by page, and told me what to write. Now, if they can do that there, they ought to be able to do it everywhere. There should not just be people working there who get that. And it was anybody who was there. If you were an NCO or an officer or whatever, you could do that. But that's just garbage. If
I've seen a lot of it.
For everybody, then you should make it so you could do it with everybody. This waiting period for all this stuff is just ridiculous, because it doesn't have to be like that.
And, you know, there's even, you know, not to get too far off in a rabbit hole, but, you know, like I was told that I had to have a major dental exam, and it was a $200 up front. I'd submit to the VA for reimbursement and the mileage. And then I had to have the surgery, and they required like $2,000 up front. Well, I paid all that. And luckily I had the money to do it, because the VA said I hadn't met my deductible on that, and it was out of, you know, blah, blah, blah network. Well, I live in the middle of nowhere in Southwest Louisiana. So basically, I got told that the $200 blah, blah, blah and the $2,000 surgery didn't meet my deductible, and I was out of network. So I had to just, you know, eat it, and it would go towards the deductible, which was never met. And then I got a check in the mail. I can't remember how many miles it was. It was like 45-minute drive. I got a check in the mail for my mileage, which was a joke. I can handle it, but the E4 that gets out on whatever reason, or E5 or E6, or they had a medical discharge, who knows? I mean, there was a lot of money. And that's the part that still bothers me to this day, where not everybody has success or makes smart decisions or has the kind of money or puts some steaks in the freezer, so to speak. And that's where my heart always goes, as you know, is that, yeah, I was upset about it, but I had the money. There's a lot of veterans that don't.
Yep.
So we got a lot of comments coming up. How do we get involved? How do we be involved? How do we do? I put my email address out there for everyone to see, and I also put my phone number directly to me. You can text me right now. I'll comment. I'll do all the above things for you. I mean, I think another part of the problem that we have, and I don't want to again go down another rabbit hole because we've got to get to closing this show down. Unfortunately, Andrea gets all spicy when we get to 2 hours because she's got to do the editing of it, which is kind of fun and all the fun stuff. Anyway, I think we have a lot of people going back to leadership. Sadly and unfortunately, we get stuck in this rut of talking about it and not being about it.
Or doing anything about it.
You will talk all day long about what you are a couch quarterback, Monday morning couch quarterback that, again, put your skin in the game. Put your boots on, lace them up, start walking down the road, and grab your brothers and sisters with you. We got this. I have no doubt in my mind we got this. There is a secondary organization to the People's Patriot Project. We haven't fully launched it yet because of the amount of logistics it takes, but it's called the Graphene Dome. And in the Graphene Dome, it's a logistic one-stop hub of all the things. People having conversations, organizations working together, not just working for themselves, individuals that want to work for something bigger than them. I wanted another branch of the military put in before we got the amazing Space Force because we needed the Space Force. But we need a logistic post-service organization that are like-minded people that know and understand. You have thrown young bucks, ages 17 to 22, into a building to grow up with each other. That isn't going to work out right because you know what? There's no RAs that know how to do it. Yeah, your E6 or 5 should be there doing it, but you know what? We also know what they're doing too. There is no processes of individual real-life growth for our first 4-year service members. There's not. I mean, hopefully they've been trained by their parents or their pastors and clergy and or their schools. Hopefully they've gone down those paths and done that. But I mean, I was on a 198. I know what us artillery guys did. I know I got a fister that lives up in the room above me who's going to law school now, but I know what he did. And, you know, young, dumb, full of rum. That's a different phrase to say it, but they're sowing their oats. They're not learning. And then, Joshua, I'm not attacking you here. How many of those amazing military classes did you really love to go to and listen to someone wah, wah, wah? Hey, this is what you should do when you get out of here. No one wants to sit in that crap. And
well, I will tell you this, the first decade of my career, we actually had real live instructors with real people talking to you that would get your attention if you're falling asleep or call you out. The last 10 years and change, we had cartoons and automated videos and online
outdated videos, outdated curriculum, outdated stuff.
Another one of my big gripes is the fact that, you know, we went to literally video games and online bots to do mandated training, and that's sexual harassment. That's like vehicle operation. That means everything. Suicide prevention. It was a joke. And that was my biggest
educators
problem.
have that. And before they used to watch through a video and check a box at the end until they figured out people would just turn the volume down and do their daily work and the video's playing in the background.
They would share the cheat sheets and the answers. I'm under attack, if you can see right now. My new kitten I adopted a couple days ago is attacking me here, but this is real life, people. This is not fake. I'm going to have claw marks all over me.
What's the next big thing for you, brother?
Right now I'm on the keep on keeping on mode. I mean, again, this time of year I slow down, I hunt and fish and see family and travel. And, I'm going to take some time for myself, a little time in Mexico in December and St. Lucia in February. But next month I've got some big shows in Texas, including the CMA Texas Awards at the Do-Si-Do Big Barn in Houston. And I'm just trying to help out some fellow musicians and even some veterans, kind of like what's worked for me. I've done some charity work and made some donations of, this is what I've learned on the road as far as, saving money for taxes or different apps that you can use for your travel, putting out music, what it realistically costs to put out a song. And people don't realize it, but to do it right, a minimum of about $10,000 a song. So a 10-song record looking at $100,000. That does not account for radio promotion or somebody managing you or like putting out to all the stations and blasting, or there's so much more. I can just tell you in Nashville or LA or New York, the hands are out. It's all about money. What makes me different is I do everything myself. I create my merchandise. I do my booking, write my songs. I do my producing, and I'm kind of on. I play when I want to, and I don't when I don't want to. And I have an advantage if I didn't sign with anybody. I've turned down 3 labels so far because I have the freedom to do what I want. And so while I'm not like big like Cody Jinks, I'm on the same path where I'm making my own club, my own path, and I'm on my own rules of engagement, so to speak. Here's the storm, by the way. Getting lots of visitors here. At least he's not attacking me. But it's a freedom where I pick and choose. And I'm also going to places where there's listening rooms. And I always ask if there's veterans in the audience or family or Gold Star. I'm actually disappointed. I was going to play a Gold Star family deal yesterday, but then I was asked from a very dear friend to play this show that we were both obligated to play, and she had a family emergency, and I just couldn't do both. And and so as much as I wanted to be at the Gold Star thing, it was about 6 hours away, didn't pay, and lodging and food, and I had a friend that needed me to help her out, so I did. But that's, I guess, my freedom is I really do what I want. I'm retired to the point where kids are raised and things are paid for. And it's a blessing, but I will tell everybody out there, it came with hard work. Like I tell my son, it's nothing's going to be handed to you, not even for me. If I got news for all my kids, if they're listening out there, that they need to do right and work hard if they want my leftovers. Otherwise, I'm going to spend it while I'm still on this earth.
Yeah. I'm the same way, Josh. I'm not in any speaker bureaus or anything like that. I do the ones I want to do. I don't do the ones I don't want to do. But you're right. It's hard work. I work harder now than I did when I was.
Ditto. I work harder now than I've ever worked, including tonight. It was like I'm watching my clock going, okay, it's and again, everybody, from Colonel to Frank to Mark to it's really it's a pleasure to hang out with you all tonight. And there was, again, financially, I should be pushing my music and the other songs and the links, but it's really bigger, as we all spoke about. It's much bigger than that. And the people that truly know all of us, whether they're listening to us or get to know each one of us, that we care. That's the bottom line, is that we care. We take time out to do this tonight. We all chopped off this block, which my dog Storm here is like, Dad, we're supposed to be barbecuing right now. I know.
So let's get her. We have one more segment. Typically we'd throw another song in. Maybe we'll do close on a song and then we'll get everyone out of here. We'll go to our final thoughts right now. During the show, something inspired you, hopefully. Maybe a statement, a phrase, an idea, a concept. Maybe there's something that you want to grow. We start our show off with Let's Grow. We changed it from Let's Go to Grow because back to the vernacular with Colonel Oakes is, the version of us needs to be better tomorrow than it is today. So Frank will start off with final thoughts, and we'll just do I believe Colonel Oakes, Joshua, me. Joshua, before we get the last thing you're doing, here's your instructions. You will give us the lead into one of your songs, American Suicide, Find My Way. I don't have the full title.
We're never the
here.
same, yeah.
Never the same.
Okay, I'm going to think about that for a second. But
Yep. Frank, go.
Well, one of the things that stuck in my mind was just what we talked about right now, followings. And a smart person told me one time that don't do something and expect somebody to follow that. Make it so that they follow you. Be the brand. Be you. And when you're you and people get used to and like what you are and who you are, then everything else will fall in place.
Outstanding. Colonel Oakes.
Yeah, I end every one of my talks, and I try to end every podcast that I'm on with the same message. You know, as a leader, certainly, but even as people, you're going to make a difference in somebody's life every day. Every day. Why not make a conscious decision to make a positive difference in somebody's life? And I tell people, you know, your goal should be to go out every day and find one person. If you can do 10, good for you, but one person, make a positive difference in their life. Imagine how much better our families, our neighborhoods, our communities, our cities, our state, our country, the world would be if everybody went out and made one positive difference every single day.
I love it. I love it. We're blessed by the people that we have come on our show, by our guests that hear what the mission is, all the work that gets put into this. First of all, thank both of you for being here tonight. Thank you, Frank, for the hard work you do behind the scenes. Thank you for the WP3 team that is doing stuff behind the scenes to get stuff done. And the mission goes daily, 24/7. We're here to help and support however we can. Tomorrow at 16:30, we will be back here again for the WP3 Weekly Debrief. We don't put much of our content in tonight's show because we make it about our guests. Our show tomorrow is about what WP3 is doing, what we're going to get done, and where we're going. So come check us out there. This next coming Sunday, we'll be back here at 1800 Central Standard Time with two of the most amazing young men on the face of the earth. They are barely getting done with their service, but we have Dr. Steve Lansing and Colonel B. Wayne Quist Martin coming in hot for veterans in crisis. These young men are boots on the ground, writing books, doing their thing, and they are an amazing team. We don't have a musician right at this time, but we'll get that set up. And again, thank you for our sponsors for tonight's show. Joshua Martin, it's yours.
Well, I do want to say that you can find me on JoshuaMartinOfficial.com, on Facebook, Instagram, Joshua Martin Music 71, TikTok, YouTube, Pandora, Spotify, all that stuff. The song I want to play will probably never be a radio hit, American Suicide, but it's got a message, and we listen closely to it. The two songs that are on Texas radio right now and other states, multiple states, are Find My Way and We're Never the Same. And while I'm proud of those, I really want you to hear the message on American Suicide. It's got parts like For Those That Struggle, talking about gold and dust and rust. Like, we can collect all the gold we want. At the end of the day, we're all going to be dust. You can't take it with you, you know, and you can enjoy it for now. But don't throw any stones, you know, be part of the solution, not the problem. And I like to say, you know, be honest, be authentic, speak the truth and live by that truth, you know, and help out your fellow, you know, Americans, basically, men and women out there. So listen to my song, American Suicide, which was my message last year of bringing people together because we are so divided and there's no reason for it.
This is Joshua Martin, American Suicide. Check your 6, Patriot Pride.
It's American suicide. That struggle, you're not alone. The world gone mad, but don't throw any stones. From rags to riches and gold to dust, we live in a world where you can't trust. It's American suicide.